Hey, this is Gene here, and I want to share with you a video that I just filmed. It was an interview with one of our customers, the host of the Creative Finance podcast, Jeff Rappoport. He's one of our lead generation customers, and with his virtual wholesaling and with our lead generation services, he took 5 grand of ad spend and turned it into over $50,000 in profit, okay? And done it over and over. I want you to listen back to this interview because you're going to get a sense of what a very successful virtual wholesaler thinks like, what he does. I'm asking him some really good questions as far as how he's doing it, and some of the challenges that he's having with and how he overcomes them, right? With acquisitions, with dispositions, with just the way to run this business, okay? I want you to enjoy this interview, okay? Let's roll.
What's up, everybody? This is Gene Blinkoff here, and I'm here with Jeff Rappoport, one of our clients. And today we're going to talk a little bit about his experience with our advertising services, with our advertising products, and with the leads. Jeff Rappoport is a real estate investor with 20 years experience or more. Uh, probably more than that if the
little
way he
more now.
works.
Yeah.
And so Jeff specializes in wholesaling, investing, land, residential, and also is a host of the Creative Finance podcast, which is he'll share the URL for that here in a second. Jeff, how you doing today? You're wearing green just like me, man.
That's right. I am doing all right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Thanks for joining me as well. Thanks for your valuable time. I know every time I see you on a call, you're like signing checks or papers or all that stuff. I'm like, damn, man. That's why we're wearing the color of money today.
Well, I
So
love
Jeff,
your marketing. I mean, your marketing's been good for us.
that's awesome, and that's what I want to, the viewer of this is somebody that is looking for ways to generate leads. And
Yeah.
I think to get everyone's attention, I kind of just want to, before we get into a little bit of the weeds, just a little bit of high level numbers as far as like how much ad spend you've put in, how many contracts that's generated so far over the few months that we've been working together.
Let's see. How much ad spend have I put in?
I can tell you it's probably about
5 grand maybe. Yeah, I think it's 5
Yeah.
total. And keep in mind that, hey, when you started this, it was kind of a work in progress kind of thing, right? That
The nationwide product, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Our
we had a
nationwide
lot of
campaign, we're one of the first people on it. Yep.
Yeah, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 deals in escrow. We've probably got at least, and this is, I don't even have notes on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 12 leads. And they're
contracts.
yeah, I mean 12 new leads that have come in the last day or two. I don't even have any notes on them yet, so I don't even know if they've been called. But I'll tell you, one of these deals is a $40,000-$50,000 assignment fee. So these are properties all over the nation. I don't get to pick where they come from, although we have done a little bit of tweaking so that we're not in real rural areas, and we're focusing on the 500.
Yeah, top 500 cities minus, I think, minus a couple of dead areas like West Virginia and all those. So wow, so
I would guess that if we did no more marketing from here on out, that I will end up with 8 to 12 deals out of the $5,000 market spend. Yeah.
Damn. Hey, so I think that's that's the biggest thing to get out of the way. I'm gonna just flash the dashboard real quick here that we've set up for you. Um, just kind of that's the type of dashboarding that we set up for our customers. And so Jeff, what's up? With your approach, what do you think is working really well for you as far as closing these leads? Because they are coming in from nationwide, and I think it takes a certain kind of talent for someone to do that. And there's a lot of hungry folks that are doing okay in their local market, but are like, you know, hey Gene, you're right. When you do advertising nationwide, the cost per lead is down so much that it's like threefold. As our local campaigns are doing well, but nothing does as well as national.
Yeah.
But it takes a certain kind of personality, I think, to be able to handle those. And I know I ask you this all the time, but for the folks here, and maybe since we haven't spoken in a couple weeks here, what would be your top two things that um, are required for success with this virtual wholesaling, basically?
So first of all, you got to know that I'm not on the phone with any of these people. I have an acquisition manager, and we handle these leads a little differently. Um, what we do with these is my acquisition manager just takes these directly. So I don't have my lead manager call them first, gather all the information, then pass it on. I have my acquisition manager deal with them first, gather the information. And first of all, you'd be really surprised. The motivation is fairly high from a lot of these people. And I mean, I was just talking to an associate of mine, and I told him we have a lead right now that she's asking 4 grand for a house. It's not a mobile home even. It's 4 grand, and it's not in the best area. It's but 4 grand, and now the real question is what can we do with it? How can we monetize it? And so for me, that one of the things that I've worked with my acquisition manager on is two things: connection. So create a connection with this person, which means that you ask a bunch of questions and you get them talking, and you look for places, opportunities to connect with them, something that you have in common, something you can relate to. You create that rapport. And then the second part, and this is absolutely true, is that we will emphasize that we don't want to work with them unless it's a win-win situation. If this isn't going to work for them, then we'd rather not do business, and that's absolutely true. And then what the real and this is what maybe took a little bit longer, is that we had to work on my acquisition manager's closing. So getting the point where what we do is we will send the seller potentially an LOI with a number of different offers, so that they may get up to 4 offers from us. So we'll have some creative financing offers. We'll have a cash offer. We might have a short-term owner finance offer that's like cash, but short-term. And what his job is to go through that with them, walk them through how each one works, and find out which one works best for their situation. There could be a very wide range in price. I mean, there could be a 50, 70, 80, $100,000 difference between the highest priced offer and the lowest priced offer. So what we had to work with him on is teaching him how to create that urgency, and then get them to be ready to sign a purchase agreement. Because if you don't get that purchase agreement, you got nothing. And for probably 6, 7, 8 weeks, we had a ton of pending deals, but pending meant we did not have them signed. And then all of a sudden, some went dark, some were impossible to get back a hold of, some went with other offers, and um, we had to go through a training to be clear that that you've got nothing until you have a signed agreement.
Yeah. Yeah, most salespeople that are starting out are, they're way too optimistic about that shit.
Well, and to be honest, it's not about really being super aggressive. It's again, the way that we like to do things is it's all about asking questions. So if we go through an LOI and they say, "Hey, option one really fits the best for me," great. How do you want to proceed from here? What do you want to see happen? Um, all right, but you want it to move forward. Okay, when's the closing time frame going to be? Great. If we put together a purchase and sale agreement, what time today can we go over it so I can make sure that there's no misunderstandings?
Hmm.
And we're doing that, and we're doing it in a way that I feel like we're helping the seller. Right. Sometimes the seller needs some help to move along. They've got all kinds of stuff they're dealing with, and they're almost like paralyzed to move forward. And so the more that you can help them do that, the better it is for them.
And I'm just as a third person, what I'm hearing from you, and I don't hear this from everybody, is the amount of, and I think this might be the key, the major key alert. It is the compassion that I'm hearing in helping them out with whatever the fuck they've got going on. That compassion, even though you're trying to close the deal, but it's like that's almost like a natural thing for you that you're going through. It's like how to help them and how to actually rapport. You can't build rapport just off of like fucking being nice. Or you got to
No.
be helpful, and that's what
Yeah.
builds rapport. It's
Yeah.
like real rapport, and that's I'm just hearing so much of that just listening to you. I just want to point that out for anyone that's listening. I just want to, before I forget, I want to go over just a little bit of a numbers game as far as like what we're seeing, if folks are wondering as far as like cost per lead and all that stuff. Obviously, the cost per lead here is without any management fees that we charge, but this is one of our campaigns. And like this month, it's actually, that last month it was sucky. We were like 25 to 30 bucks per lead. Now it's like we've got some 21, 18 per lead, shit, some 11 per lead.
Uh,
So this is stuff that like is only achievable on a nationwide level, and that's why so many folks are missing out trying to do local, because local, it's not uncommon for the campaign to be consistently producing. It's not uncommon for it to be like 80, 90 bucks per lead in some of the hotter markets.
or
And folks,
more.
some folks are still good with that, but
I
you know,
can tell you PPC leads in my market are more than that even.
right, yeah, PPC even worse.
Yeah,
And good news for you and I, our PPC, by by the way, one came in just now that was actually kind of was, I think it was some wholesaler or something. Like we get one of those once in a while.
sure.
But the PPC leads right now are about 30 bucks per lead. I mean, like, can you imagine that? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
It's nuts. I've never seen it. I've only seen it on like Sean Terry ad account in his course back in the day. Um, so that's been good. And it's just because we're aging the campaign, aging the account. It's almost like Google trusts you at some point, Facebook trusts you at some point, but even then, only nationally can those results uh, be achieved. It's like that's I'm convinced of that.
You guys
Um,
do a great job at being able to uh, tweak things based on the information that we were getting, right? And That's really the thing that I've liked working with you guys the most on, is that I really feel like you want this to be successful for me. Obviously I'm your client, and if you don't keep me, you don't have any clients. I get that, but I've dealt with lots of people where I'm their client and they don't treat me very well. And you have always been about gaining everyone's feedback, making sure everyone was getting what they wanted, and listening and saying, hey, well, what if we do this? Let's see what that will get us in terms of results.
Yeah, and I want to just kind of, not to reciprocate, but the reason why we're doing it is because it's hard to find a customer for us, right? In our world, the hardest thing is to find a customer that can close consistently and that doesn't burn out, that has a person that's doing it, that you've got an acquisitions person. You're not, taking a 2-week vacation and then everything stops and you're like, nah, Gene, can we pause this campaign? I don't need these leads right now. I'm going on vacay. And then Gene is like, I had this happen, and I'm like, dude, hold on a second. Let me call a couple of guys, get you an acquisition manager temporarily while you're out on vacation. So I'm doing all this shit. I'm like, fuck, man. so that's why hey man, if a
I,
customer
you were
close,
offering, you offered people to actually close their deals, sell their
we did.
deals. I mean,
We did it. We got a contract. I think our guy got a contract in the week that this customer was gone. But it's a lot of stress. So like,
it's too much work. You guys should focus on marketing what you do best, and bring in people that this isn't going to be for everyone, right?
oh yeah,
This is for a little more experienced investors. That not that an inexperienced one couldn't figure it out, but it would be a little better for someone that's got some deals under their belt, and are willing to get through the hurdles, right? Because hey, sometimes it's not easy to find buyers. Sometimes it's not easy to comp properties, and I mean, there are challenges in dealing with nationwide, but I also, I can pick and choose. I I have leads that I let go that are really rural, that were, they're deals. They're just probably more work than I want to get involved with. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to deal with the ones that I think, and I've had to learn that in the first few months, is that,
hmm
because I was after everything at first, and it's like, I think I'm going to pass on some of this stuff. So, because
maybe
there's
if not
enough.
for COVID, you would have flown out there for some of these.
No, I don't fly out.
See. Gotcha. So yeah, and I'm thank you for mentioning that. I think a lot of times with some of the customers that we have that are new, if someone's watching this and you're like kind of new, you closed a couple of deals, you're feeling kind of gung ho. When they acquire a new lead source and the leads start rolling in, and there's some hurdles, like you said, some people, I think, they're like, oh shit, you know what? No, this lead source is not for me because it's not free money.
Yeah, I don't know what lead source is free money.
So,
I mean, can you pull up my Monday thing again?
yeah.
And I'll show you
Oh yeah,
something
let's do it.
really quick.
I love that thing. It's so colorful with
Yeah,
stuff. Let me just hide the addresses here just for
yeah, thank
privacy of our sellers.
you. Okay, so if you scroll down, you see all
Mhm.
these green where left message, left message.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, because we don't get a hold of these people right away. They don't unnecessarily answer right when we call, and we try to be really quick when once the lead comes in. We try to get on it right away. But I mean, we've had a couple of bad numbers. It happens. Don't really care about all of that. really care about bottom line. What's my cost per lead? What's my cost per contract? And if you look at, I mean, you'll see a lot of motivated. And this is my acquisition manager saying like, hey, this person wants to make a deal. And so that's what you're looking for in a lead source. And now it becomes up to you and your team whether you're able to convert these leads into deals and then get them sold, convert them into a payday. But and there were certainly when we first started, but like I said, we had a bunch of pending deals. When we lost probably 8 to 10 deals because we did not get signed contracts like we should have, and it still works. So you can see all the ones that say dead because they want too much. They it's not going to fit with what we want. Something, maybe it's in a really rural area, but I don't have any other lead sources that I get as much motivation from as this list. So that's what you should know, is that there's a lot of motivation here.
And just so folks understand, what other things have you used before for lead gen?
So I use Facebook right now, and I generate a good amount of leads there. It's a little more, it's a smaller area.
More local, yeah.
Yeah, and I've done PPC a number of times. I've never come close to generating the amount of leads for the cost. Not even, the best I've done is like $10,000 a month, and it generated some decent leads, but they were all super competitive, right? I was competing on all of them. We've done a bunch of direct mail. We do cold calling. We do texting. Uh, we I have what we call an apprentice program where I teach people how to become a wholesaler, and part of their training is learning how to talk to a seller, gather information, and while they're doing that, that's part of their training, that they can submit those leads and we can try to convert them to deals, and we'll share the profits with them. So
Okay, man, I want to know. I'm gonna get the link from you or some kind of info and pop this on the screen right here after this. Or if you've got a URL or you want to give me the URL later, because I think this is like, I was actually going to ask you, like, man, you think do you have a book coming out or what, man? Because like, yeah,
I've done this for a while, and I've basically had two careers in real estate. I've had the pre 2008 and the post 2008, and pre 2008 I did not wholesale at all. I bought and held. I did a lot of buying, owner finance, and then lease option out and stay in the middle, and short sales, and where I negotiated with banks, and then some rehabbing and commercial deals and land, and I got involved in a little bit of everything. And but then I ended up losing everything through the crash of 2008 to maybe 2012, and including my own house, and it was not a good time. And when I got back in real estate, I got out of real estate for maybe a year and a half, and when I got back into it, I wanted something where the risk tolerance wasn't as high as what I was in. So I decided to start wholesaling, and now we wholesale, we wholesale storage unit facilities and apartment buildings, and which is a whole nother, way of going about doing things. And, those aren't leads that you're going to get from what you do.
Right.
from Facebook, but we have other lead sources that we find these, and creative financing's kind of our niche, but um, I have been through a lot, as you have, Gene, right? And one thing that I think for every real estate investor is you got to learn as you go. You got to take those experiences, good and bad, and use them to grow. And one of the things that I've learned is that I know a lot of wholesalers that spend 30, 50, 70%, with their team, their marketing, all of that expense ratio. They might make $5 million, but when it's all said and done, they're not netting $5 million. And I've just decided I am more interested in finding low cost ways of generating leads and converting deals where my business can run really lean, and I like to pay my people better, um, so that they can be a part of the profit share as we grow and get bigger, rather than it go toward marketing and all the types of expenses that a lot of wholesalers go through.
Gotcha. Wow, man. Thank you for sharing that insight. Wow, man. Some of that story. Yeah, you definitely. I mean, there's so many trash wholesaling books out there. Not to offend anyone, no, not naming any names. This would be a book, man. This is a book coming out. Do you know Mark Evans by any
Yeah,
chance?
yeah, I do.
I'm friends with a guy that is his book agent. So
Uh-huh.
I'm definitely gonna hook you up. Just introduce you because this is a
Yeah, he just came out with his book, right? He
yeah,
just came out with a book not too
yeah.
long ago, a few
This
months
pre
ago.
2008, post 2008, pre Corona, post Corona.
Yeah, yep.
I just think a lot of the case studies where, uh, personally, what I think is missing in the marketplace, there's a lot of like talk about mindset and all that stuff. And yes, that mindset's great, but a lot of the case studies, you know what? I read a really good book by Trump. Okay, great time to mention Trump right now.
Sure, right.
I'm sure everyone's gonna love that I'm mentioning Trump, but you know what? I read a book by him called Never Give Up.
Yeah,
And the whole book is just 10 or so case studies about shit that went wrong in different transactions and developments that they did. And I was like, dude, this is a great book because it just
yeah.
shows how deep in the weeds things can go, and then there's a way out of it. And I'm like, wow, man, that's a cool little example. So
Yeah, the
that's all.
problem is I think Trump's now taking it a little too far.
I'm not even going there. I don't even care about this political thing. I'm just like, dude, the guy is a pretty good developer. I mean, shit, he flipped the hotel building in New York City next to Penn Station or whatever it's called, Grand Central. For he was like 20 something, and I'm like, dude, this is this,
Yeah,
and he had the city abate, I think, $2 million in taxes. They like ignored him or something. The guy could talk to people. So I'm
yes,
like, you
yep.
know what? There's something to learn from this guy. Whatever it is. Just so one thing that I think is we keep coming back to it, and maybe here is where I also have a little bit of a myth as far as dispositions with a virtual wholesaling business. And I know you probably, there's it's impossible for you to like, oh hey, yeah, use this hack, everything will work like magic. This is why, there's books, there's coaching, there's work. But I think this is the biggest excuse people have for themselves not to do any kind of virtual wholesaling, is because like, oh well, I can't get rid of this deal. I don't know anybody there. I can lock it up, but I can't, you can lock up a fucking seller who's like pissed off, ignoring your phone calls and shit like that, but you can't lock up somebody to dispose it, right? So what do you think about that myth that people tell themselves?
Well, it's interesting because so when you call it a myth, I call it a process, and you're constantly trying to figure out what's the best process. So sometimes it's really easy. Yeah, and I'll give you a really good example. So we had a deal in a really rural area, like 1,000 people population. Okay. And we had a house that we were buying for $25,000, and it was worth 140, and maybe needed 20 grand in work. Okay. And we didn't have any buyers. And what we did is, initially we found a realtor who works with investors, and we asked that realtor to go and walk the property, take some pictures and video, and give us an ARV, right? And she was super thorough. The problem was she didn't follow up and bring us the buyer. She's like, yeah, I got buyers, and she never brought us the buyer. But now we had a value. Now we had something that we could market, and using Facebook and Facebook groups, and we found all kinds of potential buyers. Now, every one of these buyers tried to go around us to the seller. They brought our Facebook ad, what we were selling the property for, showed the seller, said, literally, I had half the city wanting this house, but no one wanted to go the route that we wanted them to go. And I told the seller, it's like, look, I'm just testing the market. I'm not familiar with this, and at some point, I've got to sell this property. I said, I'm going to buy it one way or the other, so you're going to get paid. And he was fine. And remember, I said that rapport, you know, we had that rapport. This was someone I talked to, and he believed me. When I talked to him the first time, he's like, I'm about to file bankruptcy. And I said, don't do that. I can help you avoid bankruptcy. And I did. And so the goal, what I'm trying to say is that not all of these deals are super easy to dispose of. And we are constantly trying to find better ways, quicker ways, more efficient ways of doing it. Just like you are when you get started in your own market, where you don't have a buyer's list and you got to start building one. But I'll tell you, one of the things that we're starting to utilize more and more is, we've been involved in a number of masterminds for several years. So I'm reaching out to people that are in my masterminds that live in certain areas, and I'm having them help me once. Hey, tell me a title company to use. Um, you know, Give me a realtor's name that that's investor friendly, and give me that head start. And now, hey, as much as I can, every time we're back in that state, as long as it's not completely across the state, we try to go back to that same person and keep utilizing them. And as we're doing that, we're building our buyers list nationwide. Plus, you provided us with, I don't remember how many buyers, a ton
It's a
of
pretty big
buyers.
list. Yeah,
It was,
not all of them are active, but
yeah,
it's something. It's we combined. Well, what we did is we combined a bunch of people's lists together. There's a lot of junk in there too, though.
no, I get it. And to be honest, every buyer's list is not most updated every day, right? I mean, you'll get a lot of wholesalers in there that will absolutely claim that they're not wholesalers. And but I'll tell you one thing that I try to stay away from, that I know a lot of people use. And Sean Terry uses it, Nick Perry uses it. I have a lot of respect for both of them. I've been in masterminds with both of them, and they use realtors, right? What they do is,
Brandon Simmons, who was in the product, actually, he's
yeah,
also that tribe. Yeah.
yeah. So they blast out their deal to realtors and say, hey, bring us a buyer, we'll pay you. And I try to not do that. And the reason that I don't is you have a lot of different rules regarding wholesaling. And it's state by state. Uh, Illinois, it's like, hey, they don't like wholesalers at all. You got to be licensed to legally wholesale. Oklahoma has been on the verge of stuff. Ohio's not, they don't love wholesalers. They've had a bunch of, the Division of Real Estate's handed out a bunch of pretty large fines. So the way that I feel like you get issues like that is through realtors. Realtors don't like wholesalers. And so if you shoot this out to 5,000 realtors in the area, chances are that you're going to hit some realtors that are just terrible people. That they just want to try to hurt you. So what we do is we try to identify like realtors that potentially work with investors, and we're going to reach out to 10 or 15 of them. That's it. And we're not going to blast this out to thousands. I don't want to do that. I'm out of Utah, and right now you can wholesale in Utah, but we've had for a good 2.5 years, we had things that went back and forth about you can't wholesale if you're not licensed. You can wholesale if you are licensed. You can't wholesale no matter what you are. And then they tried to bring it all to a head, and it didn't work. So for the time being, everything's good, but it's not going to stay that way, and it's not going to stay that way across the country. So you got to be careful, or else you're going to have those issues. So, and I
Okay.
don't want those. Division of real estate's not one of a problem that you want to have.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks once again. I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, so finding buyers is hard. As you see with Jeff, it's possible.
Of course, it's I mean, Gene, when I started in Utah, I didn't have any buyers, right? I had to build a buyers list, and all right, now I got a buyers list in Utah, and hey, we had properties in Indiana. All right, I got to go find buyers in Indiana, and that's what you got to go do, and so use some of these techniques to help you do it quickly, because if you have a deal, it doesn't take many people to get rid of that deal, right, to get paid.
Right. It's
So
a deal, like, yeah.
it's a deal, right?
I got you. And I think but perhaps what I'm kind of just getting from it too, just on a higher level, is that I think a lot of folks that are in wholesaling or in any fucking business, really, they're they've built a little buyers list in their own area, and they're like, oh, I've arrived at having a buyers list. I only, I kind of want to stay here because it's cozy. I've got a couple buyers, and the people with the mentality that it's like Jeff Bezos. This guy is like, hey, at our company, it's always day one.
Yeah.
It's always day one of Amazon. There's no, we haven't arrived ever. It's always day one every time I go to work. And when you're in that mentality, then you're like, oh, I'm okay with looking for new buyers. It's just the grind. Like I enjoy
The buyers list of a wholesaler, that list is always growing, always. um And if you're doing it nationwide, it may be growing in your physical market, or it could be wherever you have deals. And I will tell you personally, so we try to we wholesale a lot of commercial deals.
Mm,
Commercial being significantly more money. I mean, we have probably six storage facilities that we're wholesaling now that range from 250,000 to 900,000.
hmm
RV parks, mobile home parks, whatever. And our buyers are even more picky, more of a pain than you would have for a single family home. And I will tell you, so we don't move all the properties that we get, even though we don't put them under contract unless we think it's a super deal. And yep, sometimes you find out it's not a super deal, but most of the time the numbers work. Like you'd be crazy not to be interested in some of the numbers, right? So what we've decided is, hey, we don't have good enough buyers. We've got to go and find ourselves more qualified buyers. Because the people that you reach out to on Facebook, and certainly you can find buyers that way, but you're also finding a lot of wholesalers, and they will continue to tell you that they're buyers, but they're not. And then now they're trying to co-wholesale your deals. They're trying to send them out, and we don't want that. So we're literally going to professionals that have money, that have bought commercial properties in the last 6 to 12 months, and reaching out to them and saying, would you be interested in looking at commercial deals all over the country if they can get you these kinds of rates of return? And slowly but surely, we're building this, what to be soon, a massive buyers list that, yeah, is it a lot of work? Yeah, it's a pain. I wish I didn't have to do it, but once I have it, it's going to be worth a lot of money to us.
Nice, nice. Man, I like your approach, man. That you've got, even on creative financing, you have your own take on it, not some of the coaches there. Uh, Wholesaling, you got your own take on it. Man, I can see a great book title cover that says something like "What Your Coach Lied to You About," or some provocative shit like that. Damn, man.
You know
This,
what it is? It's really that there's always going to be hurdles, always obstacles, right? When I saw what you were offering, to me it was a no-brainer. Now the only thing was, can he produce what he's saying that he would produce? And from day one, I've been your biggest fan, I think. You know, and I still am, because you're producing what you said. I don't care if you make it $20 a lead or $28. Okay, it's cheap, and they're motivated leads. It means that you can convert more of them, or a good portion of them, to deals. And we're constantly just trying to find solutions for these obstacles. And the investors that, everyone wants to be a real estate investor right now. Market's been on fire forever. It's the time to be in real estate, whether you're a wholesaler or a flipper, or now it's buying apartments. And but I'll tell you, when the market corrects, now we'll find out who the real estate investors are. And I'd much rather be the one that's like, hey, I'm the problem solver. And because there's always going to be problems. You're a business owner. There's always problems in business, and the most successful business owners are the ones that consistently adapt and find the answers to those problems.
yeah. Man. Ooh, this is a wealth of knowledge, man. Um, One last question that I'm super curious about. And I know you already increased your ad spend this month you just renewed.
Yep.
If the market crashes tomorrow, are you gonna like fucking 5x that ad spend, or like how do you see that market crash playing out? What's gonna happen, because you've kind of been there.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Uh, for me, I think, well, first of all, you know, when you're doing nationwide, not every market is the same. So I live in Utah, one of the hottest markets in the country right now. You can still put stuff on the market here and have multiple buyers, and but you can go to some of these Midwest cities. They're not on fire.
Yeah,
Actually,
Detroit.
they may have shifted a little bit, even that they're not even really a seller's market anymore. It's more kind of seller buyers kind of equal. So knowing how the different markets play out is certainly important. But um, yeah, I think the plan might be to actually acquire more properties rather than wholesale. You
Makes
know,
sense.
certainly acquire properties, through owner finance. That there's no doubt about that.
Mm.
And then perhaps we even look at raising, a significant amount of funds. And I had a mentor that during the last crash he acquired 300 houses, and at super discounts. And then last summer, actually I don't think it was this last summer, it was the summer before. He's thought, hey, there's a correction coming. I think we all have
Predicted it.
thought this for a while. And he's like, I'm good. My little rentals have gone up in value quite a bit. I'm selling them all off. So he sold them all. He wanted to be liquid, and
Pretty good
uh,
timing.
yeah,
You
not
didn't,
bad,
you
right?
didn't top out, but you don't want to top out.
No,
That's
he did just fine. So, they were all good rentals while he held them, and uh, uh, yeah, something to that effect. Where we don't hold a whole lot right now, and people ask me why, and it's like uh, mostly because I don't really want to hold at the top of the market, and there'll be more value when the market kind of corrects. Do I still come across great deals? Yeah, of course. That's what we do, but uh, I'd rather hold in a different market cycle as opposed to the market cycle we're in right now.
gotcha, man. Jeff, this has been shit. I thought it was going to be a little testimonial. I learned so much from I learned so
I
much from
thought so too.
5 minutes. This is crazy. How can people find your podcast and find out more about your how to maybe qualify for your some of your help with coaching?
So, but we have a Facebook group, the Creative Financing Podcast. You can go to our website, www.thecreativefinancingpodcast.com. We've got we've probably got 140 episodes now. The good thing about our podcast is it's really the journey of another investor that that I'm helping learn how to use creative financing in his own real estate business. So there's a ton of actual content that you can use to learn about creative financing and how to use it. I've actually got a couple of people in our the current mastermind that we're in that listen to my podcast and now have a whole creative financing business. Um, so go there, go to our Facebook group. Um, uh, if you go to our website, we have a hotline number. You can call that number and ask about our apprentice program. You can join our Facebook group, or you can just email Rebecca at weofferoptions.com and just say, hey, we're interested in your apprentice group. And we're actually going to have a creative financing. It's almost done. I'm just trying to create the website where we will have some education strictly on creative financing. So the one thing we've learned with the podcast is it's not visual. And so now we've come up with a product that's totally visual, and it's just about ready to launch. It's called the Creative Financing Academy. And if you're interested in that, reach out to me and let me know, and I'll hook you up.
Nice, nice. Congratulations on that launching, man. That sounds exciting. Awesome.
I like to teach. I enjoy it. It's my
Yeah.
way of trying to give back a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. I got to do another. I got to do another program. I've been rusty. Um, I've been rusting. Like I haven't done a because I do them once and probably every couple months. I'll do a boot camp.
Yep.
But I just, I got married and I'm like trying to set my family life up and all that stuff. But I gotta get back in there. It's also I always learn something new when I'm teaching.
Sure.
Something I had no idea. Like, oh wait, this is like, oh no shit. It's like you teach yourself something every time. That's
That's
the
right. The more you're able to break things down and try to simplify for someone else, it's like creates a new idea in your own mind about
yeah,
what
yeah.
can
That
be.
oh man, that's the shit. Maybe that's why teachers can go and like day in and day out teach the same freaking thing again. Maybe that's what drives them because I think the teacher profession, I'm like, I could never do this thing. For the for the boot camp, like I do a boot camp and then for a couple months I'm like, "Oof,
Yeah.
that was
Right.
work. That was
Yeah.
hard work."
It is a lot. It is a lot of work. I don't like being called a real estate guru. I am not. I am a real estate educator, and I teach what I do. And you don't have to agree with what I do, and you don't have to do what I do. I mean, there's lots of ways you can be involved in real estate and be ultra successful, but let's at least make you aware of some of the stuff that you can be doing, because it's not all just, hey, I want to flip a house, or I want to own a rental and I got to go to the bank and get a loan and put down 20-25%. And you know there's a whole nother world out there to real estate investing, and people need to be aware of it.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's fast tracking too. Like, it's just a fast track working with someone. There's no shortage of information. There's YouTube, all this stuff. It's everywhere. There's no
Right.
shortage of all
Yep.
this stuff. But it's like, who do I listen to, and do I, and can I make that promise to my coach and to myself to actually stick it out and do something, or just watch it like entertainment every day on YouTube. Like I watch politics for entertainment to get my
Yep.
mind off of work for a second,
Yep.
get a just to see how shitty other people are doing in politics. Uh, if something, if I have a bad day, I'm like, hey man, the politic guys are doing much worse.
Yeah, I could not. I would have a really hard time being in that profession. It's just it's either corrupt or it's you are really working hard to not be corrupt, and uh,
I think that's it. I think that's
uh,
it. Like, it's
yeah,
the criminals that are trying to legitimize themselves are trying to get in the thing. Like that's especially like, so I'm in Eastern Europe right now in Ukraine. Same shit. Like they're just, somebody's like got a really bad reputation. Politics. Let's clean that thing up.
that I always wonder why we can't find better candidates to but why do we have to limit it to one from each party? I don't necessarily agree with each party's views. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle, and why don't we have a middle of the road candidate? Why don't we have why don't we have some competition for all this? Because these groups are super powerful, and they want who they want, and the rest of the country kind of deals with it.
Yeah, because the smart people have their own businesses that are doing okay. They don't need the money printer in front of them to make money.
You are right.
Oh man, Jeff, I appreciate you so much, brother. Thank you so
Been a
much for
pleasure.
this hour. Been an absolute pleasure. I'm gonna run the shit out of this video as far as traffic goes because I think it's amazing. So we're gonna pop up your information and the links throughout the video and in the description and all that stuff. And my man, I wish you a absolutely amazing 2021.
Thank you. You as well. and anything I can do to help, you have a great product. Um, I have no problem you adding 500 people to it, as long as, you know, the leads keep coming for us, we're good.
Gotcha, man. Gotcha. Hey, I'd rather have like 10, 20 people like you that rather than a whole bunch, you know.
I do too. I enjoyed the, you know, Friday meetings where we all got together for, you know, 45 minutes, an hour, and discuss, you know, hey, what's going on? What's the feedback? How can we make it better? And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought
Now,
that
now that we're after holidays, we're gonna bring that back.
good.
So so that's gonna be good to revive that with the holidays and all this stuff. I have holidays on the Catholic or in the Western schedule. I have holidays on the Eastern schedule, on the Christian Orthodox schedule. I'm just like, dude, can we stop without my wife's birthdays today?
Oh,
I'm
wow.
like, stop it with the holidays already.
Yeah. Yep.
All right,
Well,
Jeff. Thanks so much
good
again,
luck.
man. You have
You
a
have a
great
good
day.
one, Gene.
Have a great month, man. I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Okay.
Thank you.